The two futures of Bitcoin, according to America's best economists. Imagine waking up 10 years from now and checking your phone, and the headline reads, Bitcoin crosses $1 million. The US dollar no longer dominates global trade. Now imagine a different morning, a different headline. Bitcoin declared worthless. The greatest financial bubble in human history? Over. Both of those futures are being predicted right now. Not by random people on the internet, not by influencers selling courses, by some of the most respected economists in America. Nobel Prize winners, Harvard professors, the people whose job it is to understand money better than anyone alive. And they completely disagree. So today, we're going to walk through both futures. No hype, no agenda, just two very serious arguments. And you can decide what you think.
Let's start with something that happened just over a year ago. In March 2025, the President of the United States signed an executive order. It established something called the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. Think of it like Fort Knox, but instead of gold sitting in a vault, it's Bitcoin. The U.S. government had already collected over 200,000 Bitcoin from criminal seizures over the years. Drug dealers, hackers, fraudsters, and every time the government caught them, it kept the Bitcoin. And now, instead of selling it, they decided to hold it. Officially, permanently, as a national asset. That was a first in human history. No government had ever formally recognized Bitcoin as a reserve asset before. And that decision cracked the world of economics wide open. Because now the question wasn't just, will Bitcoin survive? The question became, is Bitcoin the future of money itself?
Let's hear what the economists who say yes have to say. Tyler Cowen is an economist at George Mason University. He's been called one of the most influential economic thinkers in America, and he has described himself as a crypto hopeful. His argument isn't about price, it's about what Bitcoin actually is. He says, don't think of Bitcoin as money. Think of it as a new kind of computer, a new kind of legal system, a new way for humans to make agreements with each other without needing a bank, a government, or a lawyer in the middle. Think about that for a moment. Every time you send money to someone, even through your phone, there's a chain of institutions involved. Your bank, their bank, maybe a payment processor, maybe a government regulation. And each one of those takes a cut. Each one of those can say no. Bitcoin removes all of that. It's like the difference between sending a letter through the post office and handing someone a note directly. No middleman, no delay, no fee, no one who can stop you.
And the economists who believe in Bitcoin say, as the world becomes more connected, that matters more and more. Marion Laboure, a senior economist who lectures at Harvard University, has said she can imagine Bitcoin becoming what she calls 21st century digital gold. Gold has been a store of value for thousands of years, not because you can eat it or build with it, but because people agreed it was scarce and trustworthy. Bitcoin has a hard limit of 21 million coins. That's it. Ever. No government can print more, no central bank can dilute it. And some economists believe that scarcity alone, in a world where governments are printing more and more paper money, could make Bitcoin the most important financial asset of our era. Some analysts project Bitcoin could reach $200,000. Others say $500,000. A few have even said $1 million per coin is not impossible over the long term. And as of early 2025, Bitcoin hit an all-time high of over $126,000 per coin. That's not a small number.
But now let's hear the other side, because this is where it gets interesting. Paul Krugman is a Nobel Prize-winning economist. He taught at Princeton. He writes for major American publications. He is not a man who says things lightly. And in 2025, he said Bitcoin is a failure. Not a risk, not a gamble, a failure. His argument is simple, and it's hard to dismiss. Bitcoin was invented in 2009. The iPhone came out in 2007. In 2 years, the iPhone went from a new idea to something that changed every part of how we live: banking, navigation, photography, communication. Bitcoin had the same amount of time. And after 17 years, you still can't use it to pay your electricity bill. You can't use it to buy groceries. Most people who own Bitcoin have never spent it on anything. It's not money, it's a bet. Krugman's term for what's coming is Fimbulwinter. It's a word from Norse mythology, the brutal, endless winter that comes right before the end of the world. He's not predicting a bad year for Bitcoin. He's predicting a permanent collapse.
And he's not alone. Eugene Fama, another Nobel Prize winner, considered one of the fathers of modern financial economics, was asked in early 2025 whether Bitcoin could go to zero within the next 10 years. His answer was, I would say it's close to 1.
In other words, nearly certain. His argument is this: Bitcoin has no earnings, no dividends, no product, no service, nothing that generates real economic value. Its price is held up entirely by what other people believe it's worth. And belief, he says, is not a foundation. Robert Shiller, yet another Nobel laureate, calls Bitcoin the purest example of a speculative bubble he has ever seen in his career. Not because people are stupid, but because bubbles are built on stories, compelling ones, stories that make people feel like they're part of something historic, something inevitable. And Bitcoin has one of the best stories ever told.
So here is where we are. On one side, some of America's most serious economists look at Bitcoin and see the future of money. Digital gold, a new kind of computer, a financial system for a connected world that doesn't need permission from any government. On the other side, equally serious economists look at the same Bitcoin and see something with no real use, a number on a screen, worth whatever people feel like believing today and nothing tomorrow. Both sides have Nobel laureates. Both sides have logic. Both sides could be right. Here is the one thing everyone agrees on. We are living through something genuinely new, rare enough that the smartest people in the room cannot agree on what it is. And there's a strange kind of comfort in that, because it means the question isn't settled. It means the story isn't over. It means no one actually knows what comes next, not even the economists.